Yes. Okay, I'm up and running and I'm looking at all the people in and I'm looking at you.
This is what it's giving.
There we go.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Ready. Bye.
Oh, you have to go through and let everyone in.
I guess I have to do it. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you can do admit all at the top.
There we go. Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Had to admit all of you. You should there, Marlene. You'll kill me.
You did.
Is
But
it?
I got it to my mind.
Marlena and Teresa are in the office with me here, so.
Good morning, everybody from the Clare Fire Department.
Morning, clarifier.
Can't hear anything.
Nobody has a fancy profile shot of palm trees or anything this morning. I'm disappointed.
I can show you a picture of the buck I didn't shoot.
What's that on a trail cam?
No, it's hanging in my neighbor's garage.
Oh, oh, your neighbor shot it.
Yeah,
I got it. Okay.
dirty bugger.
Well, if you weren't running flipped over tankers out on Washington Road, you'd have time to shoot bucks.
Hey, we have more serious incidents than that. We had a 20 by 40 hunting tent that burned last night.
Yeah, I was listening to that, a tent with explosions. I thought, no, that's got to be interesting. I haven't talked to any of your guys or gals, so.
I think it was a pot of baked beans cooking, maybe.
Everybody's looking bright-eyed and bushy-tailed this morning. We'll give it a couple more seconds for everybody to get in. Morning, Terry. You gotta unmute yourself, Terry.
There you go. How are we doing?
Hey, good, buddy. How you doing this morning? I was trying to do my lip reading thing, but I was terrible at that, you know.
Yeah, we all are, but we're all getting better. So
Yeah, okay.
You can admit all of them first.
all right.
Make sure everybody's admitted here. I had to click again. Mary Jo, you got like a scalp line going on top there. I got your nose from the nose up. That's better. Melissa, good morning.
Morning. I guess I got to unmute myself to speak.
Yeah, yes, you do. Okay. I think we have everybody. Hopefully, we've got everybody we're going to get. Good group this morning. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
I will forego the Pledge of Allegiance. I apologize, but it's kind of difficult to do it on Zoom. But the thought is still there, and we always do that for my meetings, as you know, folks. So the first thing, take a look at the agenda, and I sent it out previously. And thanks for the flag, Tom. And take a look at the agenda, and if there's anything anyone wants to add to the agenda, just to let everybody know that wasn't on beginning. I also have Teresa Lane here in my office, and I also have Marlena from Dispatch. So they're both here. And then when their meeting starts after my meeting ends, we're just going to switch chair positions. So just let everybody know. So again, take a look at the agenda. And does anybody have anything additional to add to the agenda? Hearing none, I will ask for a motion to approve the agenda as written. You'll have to
So
unmute
moved.
yourself. Who is that? Tom?
Yep, I move.
Beal, support.
Okay, Mary Jo, thank you. All those in favor of the agenda as written and approved, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Take a look at the past meeting minutes, please. And I'll give you a minute to read through, and if there's any changes, additions, corrections.
Have you entered this as the Book of the Month Club or something?
The Book of the Month Club.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it is, it should be a book.
I am a paper pusher. Ask my students when I teach class. I'll tell you that.
There you go. I move to support minutes.
Okay. I have a motion to support from Pernstill. Do I have a second?
Beal, support.
Okay, Mary Jo. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Okay. Minutes as written. Introductions, let's do introductions. We've got some new faces today. Let's go right on through. So my name is Jerry Becker. I'm the Director of Emergency Management, Homeland Security Division for Clare County. I'm also the Region 6 Homeland Security Governing Board Chair and also the Chairman of the LEPC. Going right on through, we'll start with right up top corner is Josh Lader.
Morning, everybody. Josh Lader, Post Commander at the State Police Post in Mount Pleasant. It's good to see y'all.
Morning, sir. Next over is Tracy. Good morning.
Tracy Byard, County Administrator.
Tom?
Tom Pernstill, Clare County Transit.
Okay, Mary Jo.
Mary Jo Beal, I am the Emergency Preparedness Supervisor, Safety Officer, and lots of other stuff for Mid-Michigan Health.
Thank you. Don?
Donald Van Bon, Lieutenant, Clare County Sheriff's Department, Road Patrol.
Morning. Terry, you're up.
Terry Darden, FirstNet with AT&T to talk about the FirstNet program.
Good to see you, Terry.
Likewise. Thanks, Jerry.
Melissa, you're up.
Melissa DeRoshi, Central Michigan District Health Department, Emergency Preparedness Coordinator and Public Information Officer.
Good morning. Jeremy?
Good morning, Jeremy Howard. I am the City Manager for the City of Clare. I recently hired and I've been here just shy of 2 months now.
Good morning, Jeremy, and welcome aboard. Lauren, you're up.
Good morning, Lauren Curtis. I work for Eagle Environment, Great Lakes and Energy out of Bay City District. I'm here to help you guys out. So good to see everybody. I might have to step out a little after 10, Jerry. Let you know.
Okay, sounds good. And there was no spill yesterday from the tanker rollover, just to let you know, Lauren, before you call me.
Perfect. Thank you.
All righty. Marlena, who's sitting right to the right of me.
I don't know if this is going to work. We're back. But I'm Marlena Tarian, 911 Director.
Dave Williams, you're up next.
Dave Williams, Surrey Township Fire Department.
No picture. You must be in your PJs this morning, huh?
Well, you don't need to look at me.
Lieutenant Thieker, good morning.
Good morning, Orville Thieker, State Police Emergency Management District Coordinator.
Good morning, Lieutenant. And Kay Davis is up next. Good morning. Is that Kim? Go ahead and unmute yourself, Kim. Yo, Kim. Yo, Kim. Oh, Kim's up on my screen. So Kim Davis from Clark County Sheriff Department. She is on there. Brett Hansen, MMR.
Morning, Jerry. Brett Hansen, MMR Operations Manager.
Morning, Brett. Good to see you.
You too.
Tim Kelly, you're up.
Good morning. Tim Kelly. I work for AT&T. I support Terry on the FirstNet program and helping public safety with their communication.
You bet. You sure did. And you helped us out this past week. I can't thank you enough, and I'll cover that during the meeting. Thanks again, Tim.
No problem.
Kathleen Kelly. You'll have to click on mute.
Good morning, everybody. Kathleen Kelly here, Environmental Health and Safety Manager for Lear Corporation in Farwell.
Hey, good morning and welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. And then I have one last on my screen, which is 989-386-2151. That sounds like Clare Police Department.
That would be Clare Fire Department. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Chief.
I'm working on getting this Zoom going. It doesn't want to let me do it, so.
Okay. Tracy, where are we at here? Hey, Tracy, I just admitted you. Are you there? Tracy Conley? Tracy Conley, City of Harrison. You have to unmute, Trace, when you get connected. Are you connected?
I am.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
All the way up the street, about 4 blocks or so.
Right.
How's the weather at the top of the hill?
Kind of gloomy.
Well, good morning and welcome. So,
Thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody else? Chief Chapman, I just admitted you, so you should be able to connect now via audio and video other than the phone number. Morning, Chief Chapman. Anyway, we know Jim's along for the ride, so. Again, good morning, everybody, and welcome. Great to have you all here this morning in this new world format. So hope everybody's staying safe and staying healthy. So Melissa, it looks like you need some sleep, sweetheart, just to let you know. So.
I do, Jerry. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, first up, I've got FirstNet presentation, and I am going to let them take over and take the helm and welcome FirstNet gang and Terry, Tim, take it away.
All right. Thank you, Jerry. Thanks again for the invitation. I really do appreciate it. And thank you, everyone, for giving me the time to talk about FirstNet. As I said before, my name is Terry Darden. I'm the FirstNet consultant for Clare County and about 33 other counties in Michigan. What I do is I serve as a subject matter expert to talk about FirstNet. I do presentations, providing information, support, seminars, things like that to bring you up to speed on FirstNet. Tim Kelly is my day-to-day. He will be handling a point for further contact with everyone. And just want to take a few minutes to talk about the program. And I will apologize in advance for those who've heard this before. I know a number of you have already spoken to, but I really do think, especially as Jerry said, in this environment that we're in today, that's very important that you know what FirstNet is and what it can do, especially with all the different agencies that are here coming together for emergency preparedness. I'm going to share my screen here. And Jerry, if you could enable sharing screen.
Okay.
We got a presentation. I'm going to really boil down to just a few minutes. I know your time's valuable here, but
Yeah, let me see if I can get this here for you.
okay. Well, while you're looking for that, I'll just say that FirstNet is a broadband LTE network that's designed by first responders for first responders. It's the only one of its kind in the nation. And it really came about as a result of 9/11. I think we all remember what happened with 9/11. And essentially that day, every carrier failed. Okay, AT&T, T-Mobile, Sprint, everybody, we all failed because there was just a lot of congestion that day because everyone was calling everybody that day, honestly. And the people who really got the brunt of that were first responders at the World Trade Center. They couldn't communicate with each other. There had lots of agencies that were coming in to assist that couldn't communicate with each other. And we all know some of the results that came out of that. Well, fast forward to 2010, where public safety said, you know, we don't want to duplicate this situation again. So in a situation where communication is really vital, which is really every time, we want to make sure that we can communicate effectively. So essentially, public safety wanted their own network so that they'd be free of the congestion that you have in situations like that. Congress agreed. So what Congress said was, we're going to establish the FirstNet Authority. And that FirstNet Authority was made up and is made up of first responders like yourselves, who can decide, you know, what the goals are, what first responders need, what the standards of communication that they need. And it's really important because when Congress authorized this FirstNet Authority, they weren't authorizing AT&T to do this. They were authorizing the FirstNet Authority to handle this. And AT&T is really just the engine that's helping build this. So that's a really important distinction because many of you may have had AT&T before or heard things good or bad about AT&T, but it's the FirstNet Authority that's leading this effort. And one of the examples I often give is the fact that we are, as part of our effort here with FirstNet, we're building 20 brand new towers in the Upper Peninsula. Okay. Now, 20 towers in the Upper Peninsula is not a decision that the AT&T Board of Directors would make on its own because there's no return on investment with something like that, just to be perfectly honest. But because under FirstNet, we are required to go where first responders go, we are building 20 new towers in the Upper Peninsula, okay? So totally different initiative altogether, being led by the FirstNet Authority. So very key distinction here that this is the FirstNet Authority in charge of this here. So Jerry, any luck there?
I'm still working on it. It says it's shared, but it's not, I'm not getting your document. So
I think I can do this now. Let's see. 1 second. And okay. And
hey, that looks better.
Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. All right. So let me jump ahead a few slides here. I was saying that the FirstNet Authority and AT&T are two separate entities here, that the FirstNet Authority is in charge. The rest of the screen just talks about the fact that by 2018, all 50 states and all the territories had agreed that FirstNet was a viable plan and that everyone had agreed that it's the way to go for public safety and their communications. Now, what is FirstNet?
Did we lose Terry?
He muted himself.
How about that? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you go. You're back. You dropped off there, buddy.
Yeah, interesting. It kind of jumped.
Oh,
down there.
Okay.
I was saying our ultimate goal is to reach 99% of the population with a 99.99% network availability. That's our ultimate goal there with FirstNet. The key to FirstNet is what we call band 14. Now, every carrier has a number of bands that they use for communication purposes. We have a number ourselves, but we've been given, at least the FirstNet Authority has been given a specific band to use to provide a separate core network just for public safety for communications. So that's a total band that's actually dedicated to public safety communications. And that band, we call band 14, it has some great qualities, like it actually is a much stronger signal. It penetrates buildings and objects better. It's better in rural areas. So we're going to get better coverage off the bat just by having this band alone. But for the first time and the only time, we've actually created a separate core network, separate and apart from our consumer network for public safety and those who support them. So if you go back to the 9/11 analogy I gave earlier, in a situation like that, all of the congestion would have been on the commercial bands and public safety would have been on its own band, band 14, to communicate effectively. And by the way, I'm going to keep this really high level. In the future, if anyone wants a specific presentation, again, that's what I do. I go around to different agencies presenting this so I can give a more in-depth presentation to talk to you about that. But I'll keep it pretty high level because I don't want to take too much time up here today. Some things about FirstNet. No throttling. We will not throttle anyone at any time because you know, we obviously use a lot of data sometimes during emergency situations. So we don't want to have you slow down after 22 gigabytes of data usage and things like that. So we're contractually obligated never to throttle you. The only physical separate network core of its kind, as I said, works 24/7, 365. So it's not just in emergencies. When you have FirstNet, you've got it the entire time. So if we were back to normal times and say you're sitting at the Michigan or Michigan State football game surrounded by 100,000 people, you'd be able to talk, text, and use your data because you're on a separate network, unlike all the people sitting around you who may have trouble doing that very same thing because of all the congestion. Clearly, we're adding a lot of square mileage to our coverage. And we've also extended use of FirstNet to all of our bands so that even if you're in an area that does not have band 14 yet, you'll still get all the benefits of FirstNet in those areas. The three things primarily that you get from FirstNet: quality of service, priority, and preemption. Quality of service kind of speaks for itself, that we'll make sure that no matter how busy or things are, we're going to make sure we get you the maximum service possible. To make sure you get your communications through. Priority, your calls, your texts, your data transmissions have the priority of a 911 call, essentially. In fact, the only thing that has more priority than that is a 911 call. And again, that's 24/7. There's no special numbers to dial. There's no special service or anything. It's just you've got that 24/7. And finally, preemption. Should the network be congested that you're on, we could actually physically move consumers off of that network in priority in favor of first responders and those who support them. Again, this is automatic. No special numbers to dial or anything else like that. We use a special black SIM for all of our FirstNet users, so we're able to separate them out so we know who needs that priority and when. This is just an analogy of priority and preemption here. Shows how police and other priority users, fire, EMS, PSAP, have the highest priority on the network. Extended primary are represented by the black cars there. Those are all those who support public safety, utilities, hospitals, tow truck companies, things like that. And then of course, commercial. And in an emergency, a couple of things happen there. The faster service actually goes to the emergency units that are responding to the situation. Also, you saw one of the black cars, one of the extended primary vehicles, move upward, we call uplift. Say that's a tow truck company that's assisting with that emergency at the time. They can actually be uplifted in priority for the purpose of helping with that situation.
Hey, Terry,
yes.
real quick, you're not sharing your screen, sir.
Oh, I'm
I know
sorry.
this part has a little side.
All right, let's see. You got a blank screen or?
Just seeing you.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, when you dropped out, Terry, and you came back, your screen didn't come back. So.
Okay, let's see. It might be the animation here. 1 second. right, how about that?
Or put in another quarter.
We're riding off quarters with me.
Yeah, okay.
Let's see. All right, can you see it now?
No.
Okay. Let's see. And
Yeah, and you've got sharing rights, so you should be able to share.
yeah, let's see. Let's see if I can get that back. And I do apologize about that, guys. Okay, yeah, my Zoom is actually frozen here, so let's see.
Okay, it looks like it's coming back. There you go. It's
All
back.
right. All right, let's try that. Okay. All right. So let me jump ahead to one of the other advantages of FirstNet, and that's deployables. Obviously, sometimes we can lose towers through natural disasters, things like that. We want to make sure we get our FirstNet users back up communicating as quickly as possible. So we do that by the use of what we call deployables. As you can see there, we've got the truck there. It's called a SAT Colt, a satellite cell on light truck that we can bring to a site to pull in a satellite signal and broadcast band 14 to all the FirstNet users in the area there. Now, we have other commercial units that will take care of our consumers, but our concern is to get FirstNet users back up and running communication-wise as quickly as possible. We also have different assets like the drone you see up in the upper right-hand corner. And we also have a blimp as of the last couple of months. We call that Aerostat 1, which we recently used in, it was Hurricane Lucy down in Louisiana, where we actually flew the blimp up. It actually gave us 100 square miles of coverage, which allowed us to use fewer deployables and to provide greater coverage for our FirstNet users. So that was its maiden flight. That was very successful and certainly a great asset to have for the future. Now, these assets, these deployables, are free of charge for FirstNet users. They can be used for planned or unplanned events. So say if you've got a fair you have every year that has a lot of people, you want to make sure communications are maintained for your first responders, you can actually have a SAT Colt at that event as well. So we've done that numerous times. But mostly for emergencies. Like recently we deployed them to Midland for the flood there. Lots of agencies came in from different counties to assist, most of which had FirstNet. So we were able to bring our SAT Colt there to provide a signal because we had a couple of towers that were damaged in the flood. For those who did not have FirstNet at the time, I was able to bring what we call a drop kit to provide emergency devices for those to use during that time period. And we were very successful in supporting that effort there at the Command and Control Center. We also had an opportunity to use our services at the presidential visit in Battle Creek back in December. And actually more recently when he was in Freeland, the White House Communications Office reached out to FirstNet to make sure that we had a SAT Colt on site to support any communications, because having some 10,000 people in such a small space can get really difficult for communications. So we're now showing up at all of the presidential events to support communications, whether it doesn't matter who they have. They just want to make sure that FirstNet is there to support them, and we've done that a few times. Notably at the Battle Creek event, at about 7 or 8 o'clock that night during the rally, all the other carriers started having difficulty in communicating. So all the unit commanders that I gave devices to switched over to FirstNet, and they were able to maintain their communications for the rest of the evening. And that's just a slide about the National Guard. We also assisted with some of their exercise. Part of our 5-year rollout plan, we're actually doing 2 things. As I mentioned before, we're building new sites where necessary. You can see all the sites up north that we're building and all around the state. In fact, we're doing about 1,000 new sites around the country to, again, make sure we go where first responders go. We're actually 56 is actually kind of low. We actually exceeded that this year. And I can say on average, most carriers only build about 5 or 6 new towers a year. We were building 56. And we're making sure that we provide coverage where necessary. And then for our current sites that we have, we're actually adding band 14 to all of those sites to make sure that we have that service for everyone out there. Again, 1,061 is kind of low. We're actually exceeding that number, but we're taking all of our current sites and we're adding band 14. We're also doubling capacity at those sites, and we're also adding 5G technology on there because obviously 5G is coming up. So we want to make sure that we're doing as much as we can every time we touch a tower, and make sure that we have the best communications possible out there. So two-pronged approach, new towers and supplementing our current towers. And I'm going to skip through a few of these just for the sake of time here. Single number that goes straight to FirstNet. We have a dedicated FirstNet site just for FirstNet users. You will not be sent to the AT&T site. Just totally dedicated support for FirstNet. And also because we are supporting so many high-profile agencies, in fact, the FBI just came on board last month, and also the parts of the Navy is coming on board and things like that. We have to make sure that we are ruggedized to withstand any threats that happen to our network, because we are a target now. And we have to make sure we meet Department of Defense standards to make sure that we are protecting our information. Let's see, we have a few things here. Especially in this time of COVID, we have been using FirstNet to support efforts here because we estimate that congestion has doubled during this time period here. I mean, obviously, you've got a lot of people like ourselves. We're on Zoom right now. We've got kids who just went back to school the last couple of months. They're using up bandwidth. Just lots of different draws on the network that could cause congestion. And this is something that would enable you to remain above that congestion because you'll have priority the network there. So you won't have to worry about being caught up in all this congestion that's out there. So we've actually been helping a lot of hospitals with providing communications for them during this crisis here, for ambulance services, to providing backup for their clinics, their ERs, rapid deployment kits that can allow you to mobilize your efforts for a lot of the tents that were set up for COVID testing and things like that. Hopefully we won't have to go through that again. Paging systems, integrating your phone systems, red phones for when the phones go down. I mean, just the possibilities are really endless of all the things that we can do and have been doing to support hospitals through a lot of this crisis here, which we can go into a lot more detail in later meetings. Push to talk is something we've been developing that actually helps because we have something called LMR interoperability that some of you may be familiar with, in the sense that we can use cell phones with talk, text, and data to interoperate with radio systems, so that not every person would need to have a radio within an agency. Now, not that we're replacing radios, but by providing this FirstNet technology to support radio systems and augment radio systems, there's a cost savings and also an expansion of the network itself, an expansion of your communications by using this LMR interoperability. So that's certainly something that we can help you with. Basically, pretty much every manufacturer out there being aware of FirstNet, they're now making devices that are FirstNet enabled, from phones to routers to hotspots to tablets. Virtually every new phone that comes out is FirstNet capable, and even the new iPhone 12 that just came out, they just know how robust this network is, how important it is to public safety, and so they're making sure that they're ready for FirstNet when they come out. That includes tablets, iPads, watches, and so forth. And the last screen I like to show is pricing, because I know a lot of carriers can match pricing, but they can't match all of the advantages of FirstNet. We like to keep prices low because we don't want to bust any budgets. We want to actually give you the best network out there at the best price possible. So that's our pricing there. So for unlimited for a smartphone, $39.99. If you want to have tethering with that, where you could actually have access to the internet, you just add $5 to that. And for tablets, modems, and other data devices, you're just looking at either $34.99 if you're a public agency, or if you're a private agency, it'd be $40 per device. And that's it. I mean, that's our pricing. And you combine that with a lot of the different deals that we have with this year, like if you're a primary agency, we have the free smartphone for life offer. So we're providing various devices for free and every 2 years you'll get a free device to replace that. So combining free with the great data prices, it really does help budgets here. And a lot of other different offers here for 99 cents for various devices, and we also have offers for individuals who want to get FirstNet on their own and pay for it as well. And really, it's all about getting you, like I said, the best network, getting that priority at times you need it, making sure that you have the data that you need unthrottled when you need it, in a program that is unique, it's the only one of its kind. Other carriers may say they do the same thing, but they don't. No one is this focused on public safety. This is something that public safety asked for, and AT&T is helping to deliver that. And like I said, this is a very shortened version of a presentation I normally give, but I want to keep it short on time. I would love to reach out to all the agencies that are on this call here today. That's why I asked Jerry if I could be a part of this, because there's so much more that we can do and so much more I can focus on for your individual agencies, because pretty much all of you are eligible for FirstNet as well, because you support public safety in some way in these efforts here. So I will leave my contact information up here just for a second. And if anyone wants to reach out to have more specific information, I'm more than happy to do a little more elaborate presentation and focus it for your agency specifically. But at this time, I'd like to ask if there are any questions.
Terry,
Go ahead.
Terry, can you put up the coverage map for the Lower Peninsula?
Sure.
Do you have that? Thanks.
And actually, I'm going to do better than that. Yeah, 1 second. I'm going to go to a different screen. And that's, can you see that map there?
Yep.
Yeah, that's Clare County currently right now. So as you can see, all the dots represent LTE sites. All the red dots represent where we've actually added band 14 to those current sites. So you can see a couple in the southwest corner that have been converted to band 14. We will obviously be doing all of these sites by the time we're done here. And as I said before, even for sites that don't have band 14 yet, you still actually get to use FirstNet on those sites. You'll still get the priority and preemption on those towers because you know, you're the FirstNet status. So that's a current look at our towers in Clare County.
It appears there's a very large portion of the northwest part of our county where there's no coverage.
Well, there's coverage there, but obviously it's maybe a less populated area up there. And what we're doing is, when we started this program, we reached out to cities and counties to find out where the priorities were. And obviously the main priorities were along the highways to start with, and then, you know, major metropolitan areas, things like that. But we're also asking where the issues are. Like, we didn't want to just put a tower in the middle of somewhere if it's not going to help you. But if you tell us that, hey, we need a tower, you know, in this area here, that's very important. That's something that we will actually take into consideration. And, you know, again, we're obligated to fill in as many blanks as we can out there. So we ask you, you know, help us help you to figure out where those remaining areas are that we need to put different towers up.
In addition to that, one thing that we definitely recommend and invite is agencies to do fair testing. You know, tell us where this is working great, you know, where it needs some assistance, like what Terry said. It's one thing to also look at it on a map, on a 2D map, but, you know, a lot of these areas, especially the further north you get, you have, you know, a lot more hills and a lot more forest. Excuse the dog. But we need, you know, your support as far as, you know, testing this out and letting us know, you know, where these areas are in real life versus what they show up on a map as.
And just as an example, I'm going to see if I can move down here. Roscommon County, your neighbor to the northeast. As you can see, they don't have any band 14 sites just yet. We've got some coming late this year and actually early next year. We have essentially, and Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, we've essentially signed up just about every agency in Roscommon for FirstNet because of the current LTE coverage that we have. we one instance was during the 4th of July, where of course an area like this gets congested over the summer. And there were instances where those who had band 14 had no problem, and those who didn't couldn't communicate it sometimes. But the LTE coverage is so good right now that everyone, they all tested, every agency tested our devices on their own. And they found that this is something that was very helpful to them because of the priority and preemption aspect of it. So from the Roscommon County Transit Authority to Animal Control to the Board of Commissioners to various fire departments and police departments, we've essentially got them on board knowing that they've got great service now, and it's only going to get better as they go along as we make our improvements to band 14. But just
The only
go ahead.
The only department that isn't part of it in Roscommon right now, technically, are the schools. With all the hecticness that they've gone through this year, we haven't had a chance to approach them, and the sheriff's department is currently testing.
Correct.
Gary, it's Jim Chapman from the Clare Fire Department.
Hi, Jim. How are you?
Good. First, I apologize. I've blown you guys off multiple times because you tried to reach out to me.
Understand.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I'm totally interested in your product. I mean, this sounds awesome. And my department is actually in need of a tablet that can be mobile. But I have to be brutally honest. I have family members as well as department members that have AT&T. And I hate to use a naughty word, but I have Verizon and I get awesome coverage throughout the county. And so I guess my question is this. Is there a contract involved with me trying your product, or can I test drive it?
Okay. First of all, there are no contracts with FirstNet. Okay. We don't want to lock into anything because this is something that public safety asked us for. And if it's something that's not working for you, we certainly don't want to keep you in something like that. Okay. So no contract with FirstNet. We actually encourage all of our agencies to try out the devices first, take them to all the places where you normally go, try them out, let us know how it works. We find that most times you'll find that the coverage is actually better than you may have remembered. That's why I made that distinction early on about what you may remember of AT&T before, because we've made so many improvements that I think you'd be very surprised by what we've done with FirstNet and what we're planning on doing with FirstNet. So we do encourage you to try it out. You can actually try it for 30 days without obligation. If it's something that doesn't work for you, then maybe we come back in 6 months, but if it does, then you know that you've got something that's actually, built for you and supported by public safety. So absolutely, we'd love to do that for you.
Okay. Also, one last question. The city just recently got tablets. Can I use my tablet with your service?
We'd have to see what kind of tablet it is, because if it's one of the newer ones, then they are more than likely FirstNet capable. And it would just be a matter of putting our FirstNet SIM in that tablet. But we just want to make sure it's not one of the legacy devices that that would not be FirstNet capable.
Okay, thank you. And I'll be in touch.
Okay. All right. I'll have Tim reach out to you. And again, this goes for really all the agencies on this call because you're involved in emergency preparedness. This is something that we, like I said, that you guys have really asked for in a sense, and that everyone really needs at this time here. Like I said, COVID's kind of revealed the necessity of communication here and certainly other emergency situations. And we're just providing something that is going to support you in those efforts. And we really want to make sure you do that and make sure that your entire network's involved, not just police, fire, EMS, but, all the different agencies on this call that support those efforts. So that's what FirstNet's here for. And we'd love to get you involved. Any other questions? All right, well, thank you for your time. And like I said, you've got my contact information. If anyone wants to reach out to discuss it further, I'm more than happy to. And thank you.
Thanks, Terry. A great presentation. And, I've got your contact information, and I do believe, and, if anybody reaches out, I can get it to them. So,
and I'll have Tim resend it to everyone. And
okay.
Again, I'm more than happy to do a much slower and more thorough presentation that's more tailored to each agency that I speak to.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. So moving right along, folks, next up on the agenda is public comment. Is there any public comment in the room today? Hearing no public comment, I'll move on. Move on to old business. The first up on the old business is, and it's actually ongoing business, but FY18 800 megahertz radio project. Of course, don't let the FY18 fool you. We're always 2 years behind on Homeland Security grants. That's just the way the government works. So it's actually a current project. That project, I had to do a little bit of adjustment. We were originally going to do 6 800 megahertz radios, 6 for law enforcement and 5 for fire. Had to adjust that one down on law enforcement because we ran short. So it's going to be 5 and 5. Each fire department will get an Apex 900 Motorola handheld radio. Each, and law enforcement will get 5. And then to use up the difference in the money, I had them redo the quote to get a 6-bank charger for law enforcement. So law enforcement will get 5 radios and then a 6-bank charger, like a squad room or whatever to supplement. So I figured that way we weren't giving money back, and yet we weren't coming up short. So that project is moving along. I had to kind of put the brakes on it a little bit because the templates, I've been working with law enforcement. Law enforcement wants to upgrade their templates to go to a mutual aid template base, which is a great idea. And so we're in the process of getting a mutual aid template for surrounding counties. And I have 2 counties that I have to get current MOUs with. And I should have those fairly shortly. And once I get those, then we can go ahead and move ahead and, submit that project. So it is moving ahead. If you have any questions about that, you can get in touch with me anytime. But again, it'll be 5 and 5, 1 for each fire department, and then 5 for law enforcement, including a 6-bank charger. So.
Hey, Jerry.
Yes, go ahead.
You said that's the Apex 25 radios that you're going to be getting?
The Apex, those will be the Apex 900 Motorola.
Okay, I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure that that's actually FirstNet compatible.
I think it is, Terry.
So you'd actually be able to have the FirstNet network backing you up, which, like I said, would actually expand your network, expand your reach, in addition to having the capabilities of the radio network. So
yeah, excellent.
Okay,
excellent. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any questions on the 800 project for this year? Okay. Moving along to the hazard mitigation plan process. Normally about this time we would be well deep into the hazard mitigation planning process because our plan is due back to FEMA in August of 21 next year. Seems like a long ways off, but it's not. Normally we start the process about 2 years in advance. Unfortunately, the COVID specter has really taken its toll on the grant process. Normally our grant would have been approved this last fall and we would already be open that grant, or that grant would be open, excuse me, and we would be conducting meetings. Unfortunately, the grants have kind of slowed. And so we are expecting, I had a conversation about a week ago with Bill Ernat, who will be on the forefront of doing this project again, who did it last time with us. And our grant is one of the next up for approval. So we're right on the cusp. Once that happens, I'm gonna start setting up some Zoom meeting for the planning process because we're gonna have to get going. We can't wait any further or longer. So as soon as that grant is approved, we'll spool up quickly and I'll take the old hazard mitigation planning list, update that and include all of you into that. And we will start doing that process to get rolling. So it's coming. So just, kind of bear with us. And if you know anybody who should be, or who wants to be on the hazard mitigation planning team, please forward that information to me and I'll be glad to add them. So next up on the docket is the bylaws. The bylaws, we did an upgrade in our bylaws way back last fall, and we discussed it at the January meeting. And you all should have received the new current bylaws copy with the agenda packet. And if there's anybody who needs it, please let me know right now. There wasn't a lot of major changes in the bylaws, just a few, some wordsmithing and some few, a few adjustments. But what I would like to do is we'll take a minute here. I'm going to let everybody kind of browse through so you can take another look at it if you have any questions. And if not, we'll move ahead with, I want to do a formal approval of the bylaws, the new bylaws. So take a minute to read through.
Jerry, this is Tom Crystal. You mentioned there was a few, I got told was the major changes.
What's that?
What were some of the major changes you made in it?
There were no major changes, Tom. There was just a few minor changes. I had highlighted those in the copy I had sent out.
I didn't see those highlighted.
Yeah, back in January, the January copy.
Okay.
And this copy that you have in front of you is the final draft. Those changes, I took out I apologize, I took out the highlights because this is the final.
Okay.
There were just really some minor changes in it.
Thank you.
I'll tell you what, this is a lot easier process in our bylaws than the Region 6 Homeland Security bylaws that have been almost 2 years of my life and are finally coming to fruition to go to our Region 6 Homeland Security Board at our next meeting. That process has been arduous, to say the least. Like I say, we'll take another minute. I will add that one thing that I did not make a change in this January draft that we preliminarily approved was, relating to virtual meetings. I didn't see a need to go in and rewrite and add that since, the governor's office in the state of Michigan has already basically, waived that issue that, we can conduct virtual meetings and they are valid. So I didn't see a need to go in and rewrite our bylaws just to address that. Okay, Marlena has made a motion to approve it. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Don?
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna do just a voice vote, and if that's sufficient with everyone. We're not moving money, so we really don't need to do a roll call. So all those in favor of the bylaws, current bylaws draft as amended, aye?
Aye.
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 Okay. Any opposed? Or abstentions? Okay. Hearing none, the bylaws draft is approved as written, and I will resend this out with my signature and Marlena's signature as the vice chairperson. We'll send this out to you after the meeting. So thank you. Appreciate your input and your help on that. With that, I'm going to move on to new business. Oh, look, it's COVID-19 updates. I'm going to briefly go over that, and then I'm going to pick on Melissa because it looks like she needs some sleep.
Well, I got about 3 minutes before I have to get off for another call, Jerry.
Okay, so I'm going to dump it on you real quick then, Melissa. Can you give us a quick 3-minute update?
Yeah, I don't know when I open up something else on my computer if you lose me on the screen. So let me know if you lose me.
Okay.
Just 1 second. I have to sorry, I'm not at my office to where I can get on both screens at once. So we just issued a press release last night. We are seeing across our jurisdiction an increase in cases, not just outbreak situations, but in the communities in general. We currently, as of last night, have seen a total of 196 cases in Clare County, 8 deaths, and 83 recovered. So what we are seeing is that there has been a shift, as you all know, in since the governor's executive orders have gone out and the MDHHS epidemic orders have gone in. So we've been trying to educate everyone on the MDHHS epidemic orders, the importance of still wearing masks, that there are still gathering limits and all of that. So we continue, just like law enforcement and all of you, we continue to provide education and go from there. One of the things that we wanted to make sure in the press release that we put out is that if someone becomes aware that they are a close contact, whether that be, they are working with somebody and their employer has told them you're in close contact, or whether I let my family members know, hey, I'm positive for COVID, you're living with me, I'm pretty sure you're going to be close contacts. We want people to start quarantining if they know they're a close contact right away. Don't wait for the phone call. You will get a phone call, but what is happening is local health departments, I can tell you, we are overloaded right now. The state health department overloaded. We've all brought in additional staff, additional volunteers to make this happen. We are currently using Traceforce, and we enter all the close contacts in. They may get an automated call on their machine first off, and then followed by a call from a real live person with quarantine instructions. So we are just asking people to stay home if they're sick, and also to continue if they've been told that they're a close contact, or if they've been told they're a confirmed case, please follow the home isolation and the the quarantine instructions. What we are finding lately is a few of our cases have been out and about. And so what may have been 1 or 2 close contacts has turned into 10 or 12 or 20 or 30 close contacts. And as you can imagine, that takes a lot. We've been working very closely with all of our school districts in making sure that they have the information they need to respond and do what they need to do. And we are bringing in additional staff that are working in other programs. They're helping to cover nights and weekends now too. So pretty much, I don't think there's anybody at the health department that is not doing something COVID right now. And across 6 counties, that's 120 people working on COVID. So I know that we've seen increase in hospitalizations as well in the past, especially the past 2 to 3 weeks across our 6 counties. So I'm sure that for Mary Jo and the other hospital people, it's been quite a lot. I know Region 3 which is Aranac and Gladwin, but I've been hearing in other parts of the state as well that the hospitals have had more people in there with COVID and more people on ventilators. So we're seeing some surges in our hospitals across the state. The state health department put out a release last week regarding the cases going upwards. So I just ask for your continued patience as we move forward, and please know that we are doing the best that we can to educate and to provide people with what they need. And yep, and I could tell you last Thursday, I was on the phone. If I was not in a meeting, I was on the phone answering calls from residents and businesses for probably 11 hours that day. So I'm doing what I can to help relieve some of our nurses that are working very hard on the investigation side of things. So I think that that's what my update is, unless anybody has any questions.
Melissa, it's Tom Fernstill. I've heard
Tom.
various reports of if somebody needs to be quarantined, some say only 4 days, 5 days, 14 days. Is there a specific guideline for any quarantine?
Quarantine, if you're a close contact, quarantine is typically 14 days. However, Tom, sometimes by the time we get the names from the confirmed case, that a person may not, their close contacts may not be in quarantine for 14 days from then. If it takes me a week and a half to get names from somebody, you know, if I find out Mary Jo Beal is a close contact to somebody and I don't find that out until 10 days later, then Mary Jo technically should have been in quarantine for those 10 days. So she only has 4 days left, but it should be a total of 14 days for a close contact. For a confirmed case, you're in home isolation for, it could be as short as 10 days, but you can't have a fever. Your symptoms have to be improving, etc. In our, I can send, oh, I did send Jerry the press release from last night. We have links to the CDC, which details what quarantine is and what isolation is. And we're following those procedures.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Melissa, this is Mary Jo. I'm wondering if this might be the place to bring it up. We are getting, and I know you guys are too, we are getting several businesses, just regular businesses that are reaching out to us that since the MyOSHA rules have come out and looking for supplies, looking for guidance. I'm on a task force that was trying to work on that, but we need to find a way to streamline that because we just do not have the FTE or man hours to do all that. And I know you guys don't either. And Jerry, I'm not sure what the best way to go about it is, but if anybody's read the new MyOSHA guidelines, it's going to affect a lot of our businesses, especially shops and stuff. And we've got a lot of that in Clare County.
Right. And what we're doing, Mary Jo, is we're finalizing our business toolkit yet again. But we continue to put the information on our website under the businesses to link them to how to request PPE and other supplies. And you know what, we're doing the same thing. It is our purchasing agent at the health department that continues to work around the clock for us. And if she finds a vendor's out of something, she goes to another vendor. So, I mean, we're giving the information that there is, but for businesses, I've been told to provide them with those links because it really doesn't fit through the healthcare coalitions or all that unless they're a place that is generally served by them. So, I mean, I feel bad for our local businesses, but we're seeing shortages and stuff. You know, we're not able to get things in a timely manner. And so I guess the message to our businesses is keep trying to order, keep trying different vendors. And I think that's why the state has put out those PPE information for businesses. And there was in our opt-in email we sent out last week, there was a way for businesses to ask for some free masks through the Spread Hope, Not COVID campaign, I believe. So yeah, we continue to put those out, but so we take all those calls that come into our health department. I do not send them to Jerry, or I don't send them to the Healthcare Coalition unless they are a healthcare agency. But I've just been referring them to all of those.
Right, but I think we're going to see the struggle come out as these businesses who try to stay open. Like I'm getting it from shops, and like a couple of the machine shops, a couple of the stuff, and I think we have to do our due diligence as well. I know, I get that, and I'm sorry that they waited till the last minute, especially the second round, knowing they're going to take OSHA hits now for not filing that stuff. But I'm just wondering if there's a way we can have a consolidated message through Jerry saying, if you are not a healthcare provider in some way, I mean, it's taken a lot of time just to answer these phone calls. I'm sure I get probably 5 or 6 a day that take a good 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And just to let everybody know, I have pushed out we got new guidance about a week and a half ago, about a week ago. Anyways, on PPE, what the priorities are, and we are allowed to distribute, and what the priority levels are. So if anybody needs that, I did put that out. I put it out to the Chamber of Commerce's. They are on my email blast list. And also on my broadband network group that's reaches out to the businesses, and also posts it up on social media. So that information is out there, of course, there's a lot of people out there that don't read their email or ignore it or whatever, just, and that's always going to be, but feel free to refer to me. I don't have any problem with that. I have the information right here, and it's sent to me and it's forwarded out. So, that's fine. That works.
Maybe a live town hall.
Live town hall. That's a possibility too, something we could possibly do,
Okay, Jerry, if you can let me know if there's anything else, I got to get to my other meeting. Okay.
I will. Thanks, Melissa. Get some sleep.
Thank you. Well, I have
Thanks for
been getting
everything you
sleep. Maybe I've been getting too much sleep and falling asleep in my chair every night. So
Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Yep. Okay, moving along. I think that's enough on COVID updates. I know I blast a lot of email. I'm still the record email sender, other than one of our people who had their email account whacked or whatever, and they spammed or whatever a while back. But so I still feel pretty proud about that. I still send up more than anybody in the county. So I know you get a lot from me, but please brief through and read and watch for those primer words. Don't just throw me in the spam box. So watch for updates. It's changing every day, sometimes multiple times a day. And also, of course, on our Facebook page, I post everything that is pertinent to the public on our Facebook page. So watch that also. Okay, so moving along, I'm going to move on to the quarterly EMHSD regional recap. Several projects going on there. We are into the, into the FY19 projects. We've started some of that project. FY18 is just really spooling up still, but FY19 has also been opened up, so they're doing some projects on the FY19. We're getting ready to start doing some virtual hosting of my subcommittee chair, Mark Griffiths in Isabella County, getting ready to start hosting some focus group meetings on that side, because we haven't done anything with that till since like January. And so they'll be working on regional projects through the focus groups. That'll be starting up pretty soon. We're working on the critical infrastructure, the Kicker project on the regional level and the local level. We're also working on the SPR report, which is local and regional. I submitted ours last week. That's already been sent up to our planner coordinator for submission to the state. That project will wind down and wrap up on October 30th as a deadline. We are, as I briefed on earlier, we are at the final phases of our bylaws project. The final draft of the bylaws for Region 6 Homeland Security will be going out either today or tomorrow to the Planning Board and the Homeland Security Board for hopefully their 30-day appraisal process and review process, and come back in November, and hopefully we'll get an approval on that. That's been again, an arduous 2-year project. So Lieutenant Thieker, you're still on. Did you have anything on the regional side you wanted to add in?
Not at this time. Thanks, Jerry.
Okay. Thanks, Lieutenant. Appreciate it. Okay. Any questions on the Region 6 side? Okay. I will add quickly, between the COVID and the regional side, we still do have some SNS stockpile here at the county. Again, we have to follow our priorities for distribution. So those have tightened up. If you want a copy of that current PPE distribution priority list, send me an email and I will be glad to forward it on to you. I know it was probably in a sea of email a week ago, but I'll be glad to share that with you again, and you'll see what the priority is, the priority listing. I can tell you that we keep getting advised that from higher authority that there probably will be shortages in gloves coming up, that there are raw materials shortages. So we do have a fairly good stockpile, but I'm also going to diligently watch that. We don't want to distribute everything out and give everything away and then be caught short. So PPE usage is important, but also don't make sure that it's not being wasted. Okay. I can't emphasize that enough. Don't waste it. Moving up to the FY19 HSGP local project allocation, our county allocation for FY19, which we won't be getting in that till probably either late this year. Well, not even late this year. It'll be into 2021 calendar year. It'll be spring or summer before we actually start getting into that. More than likely, realistically, that is $21,815. $21,815. That is the budget number for the FY19. We had some projects, ideas submitted. Feel free to submit any projects to me, or let me know, and I'll be glad to add those to the to the list. So, moving on to the state dam safety initiative program. Obviously, what's happened this year with and related to hazard dams with Midland, Gladwin counties and others that were affected. The hazard dam initiative went out from the state. The state went out and did an inspection of hazard dams. That is included in your agenda packet. That it's a quite extensive, lengthy report. I don't want to say there's not bad reading in there, but there's a lot of reading in there. I did read through the entire report last week myself. There's a lot of things that are on the on the radar, and I'll say it that way. And we'll see what happens moving forward. Only the state and money and a lot of other factors are going to filter into that. I'd love to see some of that come to fruition. Obviously, this really brought things to the forefront with what happened in Midland this spring. So if you have questions on that, again, it's a long read. It's over 200 pages. So it was in your packet. I sent it out. If you need it again, please let me know and I'll be glad to send it back out to you specifically, but it's in your packet. Any questions on the safety dam initiative project? Okay. Hearing none, our October action item in our EAG guidelines that we operate the county under is education and regional committee representatives in our public education and our regional committee subcommittee selections. We have subcommittees operating under the Region 6 Homeland Security Board. And those are the law enforcement, group, which I represent. And Don, I think you are on the group still, correct? You have to unmute yourself.
I believe so.
Okay, yeah, you were the last I knew. And I think I still have Bill Sharp. I think Bill is on the list for the dive team side of it. What I'm asking for at this point in time is that, do we want to continue on with those same two representatives representing on the law enforcement side and on the dive team side? Or is there anybody else who wants to throw their hat in the ring and represent law enforcement and dive team?
This is Josh. I would suggest that those gentlemen, if they wish to remain. They've done a good job, and I have full confidence in them.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, Don, you're good with that? I know Bill's good with that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we will leave you two on as the representatives. You'll get the emails and you'll get the invites. And again, there's some focus group meetings probably coming up here. Of course, there'll be Zoom meetings, and I'll make sure that you're on the list at Region 6 on the subcommittee side. So the only other ones is the interoperability, communications, and operational readiness, and I represent the county on both of those groups since that's kind of in my wheelhouse. Unless there's anybody else who wants to get involved in the interoperability communications end, you're welcome to join the club with me. Okay, hearing none, I'll remain on those two subcommittees representing the county. If you have anything, any issues, concerns, or anything you want brought to those subcommittees or focus groups or regional project suggestions, please work through the committee representatives. That's me and Don Van Bon, and also Bill Sharp at the Sheriff Department. So, okay. Thank you very much on that. With that, I'll bring it up to the round table, and I'll just go right around the round robin on my screen on who's next. Josh Lader, you're the first one on my screen.
Not a lot for you. Obviously, at the forefront of our minds right now is the election planning. I did reach out 2 weeks ago and talk to each county clerk or their office or their designee. We have 81 polling locations in our post area. The troops have spreadsheets, excuse me, on their MDCs with directions to each one of those with the actual address locations to guarantee quick response. If you guys don't know it, if you haven't talked to your county clerks, they had a bomb dropped on them this week with our AG's office deciding that they weren't going to allow open carry. There's some discussion as to legality issues. I will not get into that because I'm not the AG. However, I will tell you, there's been some things said that the state police will do or law enforcement will do. Those things that have been said have not been said by the state police or by our local law enforcement. So if you hear a formal statement that someone's making about how the troops will respond, please understand, if you haven't heard it from me, that's not legit. Our plan right now, as far as your post commander in this area working alongside you guys, we will observe and hold people to the laws that currently exist. I swore an oath to uphold the Constitution of the state of Michigan and the United States, and I plan on abiding by the laws and the MCLs that are noted here. Our leadership at the MSP level is having meetings today talking about what our formal stance is going to be. My directions to my guys have been lead with brain, not brawn. So we're just going to do what we always do with our partners in Clare County, and we're gonna team together to have a soft skills approach to things, have an educational approach to people. And if someone is threatening or brandishing, there's clear laws that deal with that, and we will deal with that like we always would. If someone is complying with the laws, then we'll deal with that like we deal with 99% of our Clare citizens who usually comply with the laws. So I wish I had a clear directive for you. Just know, hopefully within the next 24 hours, all the chiefs will be having a conversation about what our approach is going to be. The AG's office does have a meeting planned this week with every prosecuting attorney in the state of Michigan. I know I've talked with Dave Barberry. I've talked with Michelle. They're always awesome to work with. I don't anticipate having any problems locally. If you talk to people that are volunteering in your townships, let them know that we are aware this is an emotionally charged election. I'm not saying anything political here, just emotions are high. We understand that, and we have extra cars on. I know talking with Midge, they're aware and they're ready. I have extra troops on overtime in our counties. So if there's any issues, we'll be there to address them. And I totally trust our clerks and our polling professionals. That's all I got, sir.
Great. Well said, Josh, and thank you. And you're absolutely right on point. So moving along, Tracy, you're the next on my list. Byard.
I don't have anything right now. Just working on grants and those types of things, trying to get some extra funding back in for the county.
Okay, that's a big piece right there. We had a meeting yesterday on that. And that is her, Tracy and Lori Phelps are working diligently, and the treasurer and some others behind the scenes, to keep us, in the forefront that we get all the money back that we're deserved. So these are tenuous times. So, and we appreciate everything you guys are doing. So thank you.
Thank you.
Tom, transportation side, what do you got going on?
We're pretty much stable. We're not where we used to be, but we're gaining little by little. So that's about all that's going on there. I would like to take an opportunity to tell anybody that's dealing with the public that needs clothing. We dedicated our new building next to our church. We got gobs and gobs of clothes. If you know people that need them, people can come in and shop for other people. Right now, the hours are second Tuesday and fourth Tuesday of the month, 9 to 3. We're probably going to expand those hours because we're in a new building, and we'll get that out later. So fantastic cooperation with the community and all the people that came out to the dedication. Thank you. And we look forward to serving Clare County, but any person that needs clothes. There's no boundaries at all. Thanks, Jerry.
You're welcome, Tom, and thanks for inviting me to the, and that's a Living Hope Lutheran Church down in Farwell, right where 10 and 115 Ludington Drive there meet, right in that area. And a great facility, great people. So thanks, Tom.
We were very fortunate. Unfortunately, JCPenney went out of business, but they were more than gracious to give us many, many displays. So now that place looks like people that come in there will have more esteem of themselves, that they're not shopping at secondhand. It'll look really professional.
You bet. Looks great. So,
thanks.
Hey, Jeremy, welcome to the county, and welcome to Clare. Glad to have you aboard. Jump right in.
Sure. Not a ton to add. I would just say, like I said, I'm happy to be here and still gathering information from everybody. So happy to be here in this meeting, getting this information. We're doing similar things like everybody's doing, looking for every grant that we can, and public safety grants, and we've been successful in a few of those. So we continue to pursue those, and some other state funding that we've gotten recently. So that's all good stuff. And looking forward to getting more information from this group.
Thanks, Jeremy, and welcome aboard again. It's great to have you on.
Thank you.
Terry, anything else on the FirstNet side that you missed? You got 10 seconds.
Yeah, well, this it's been great listening to everybody. I can tell you that of all the groups that have spoken, this network can help everybody. I know of solutions and things that could help every single department here. In particular, Mary Jo Beal, I know we've spoken by email, but I'd love to get 10 minutes of your time at some point. So I'd like to reach out to you a little bit. But yeah, just that's what the network is for exactly what you're doing right now.
And let me tell you, the best way to get Mary Jo's time is either barge in her door when she doesn't expect it in the basement, or you can try to get in her car when she's speeding across our local county roads evading police. So.
Well, from what you said, she does sound very, very busy. So.
This is not a pick on Mary Jo Day, let's just say.
Lieutenant Van Bond, you're up.
I don't have anything at this time.
Thanks, Don, and great job you guys and gals are doing out there on the field. Thank you. Mary Jo, it's your turn.
So it's kind of crazy for us right now. I'm currently running security 24/7 at Clare because the patient volume is just crazy. and no pun intended, with the behavioral health patients that are coming in. We are just getting inundated every single day with, the suicide ideations, all that. Also those coming from the jail. And we just need to I just need to be very clear on when you're bringing somebody in, you just got to make sure you've got that PPE, and we don't have the staff to offer extra additional, I don't want to call it babysitting, but sitting staff. Our lobbies are very full. We are currently looking at plans right now. The 2 long-term care facilities with the outbreaks did not help us any. And we're just really busy. We are, again, short on PPE like everyone else. We're doing our due diligence to try and get it. I work closely with Luke Arner from Region 6, and we're just working really hard on that. But I just would remind your officers and anybody that's coming in, make sure your PPE is on and where it's supposed to be. And that's all I got.
Thanks, Mary Jo.
And I do not feed through the county. The Clare County deputy.
You know where liars go, right?
Whatever, Jerry Becker.
Okay. Tracy Conley, what's going on in City of Harrison today?
Well, we're busy getting ready for elections. Absentee voting is bigger than ever. We have received a grant and loan, 25% grant, 75% grant, 25% loan to do improvements to the water system next year, and a development project. We're currently working on the sewer side of it. We expect to get the same. For those of you, I just heard, I know Old 27 through town from Town Line to Old County Farm was going to be worked on next summer. And it was expected for next fall. I did hear it's April through the end of July now. So just FYI. And that's pretty much everything I have.
Excellent. Thank you. And again, thank you for what you guys do over there too. You guys and gals, appreciate it. Chief Chapman, what's going on in Clare Fire?
Yeah, Jerry. Well, we've been relatively busy. I don't know. We seem to be running 2 or 3 calls a day, which is kind of not normal for us. But aside from that, yeah, we're just working hard trying to buy a new $500,000 fire engine. So that's a lot of work, but we're working at it. So aside from that, things are well.
Sounds good. Thanks. I work with Chief Chapman all the time, and on the fire training side, and we are working on a firefighter 1 and 2 academy for this winter yet. We're trying to ride that roller coaster and get through the bumps and the hoops because there's a lot involved with COVID precautions, obviously, and we'll have to kind of bear in mind and watch that, see what happens as far as making that happen this winter. So we want to get those folks through the academy, but there's also a lot of nuts and bolts attached. So stay tuned. With that, Brett Hansen, MMR, you're up.
Hey, Jerry, I'll just echo what Mary Jo said about being busy. Day and night, we're just overrun, moving patients, emergency calls, non-emergency calls, long time on task stuff, patients going downstate to the COVID hub. We're looking forward to spring.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, Brett. Thanks for all you folks do. With that, where am I at? Lauren Curtis.
Yes, can you hear me?
We hear you.
I'm working from home through January 2nd, is what we've been told. So at this point, we'll be here through the first of the year. We're available as needed. I got 2 or 3 active PEAS complaints for Clare County that I'm following up on. Other than that, just day-to-day operations. So I'm gonna have to step out of here and go to another meeting, but everybody stay safe and let us know if you need anything.
Thanks, Lauren. Appreciate it. Marlena, who's sitting right next to me. Okay. Marlena says she doesn't have anything to share right now. Chief Williams down at Surrey, anything to add?
November 10th, we have a drive-through flu clinic here at the fire hall. It starts at 10, my understanding, and runs till 6. So if anybody needs their flu shot, come and see us.
Thanks,
And
Chief.
that's-
Appreciate that. Next up, Lieutenant Theaker, you're up.
Hey, good morning. Couple things. Sorry, the last time you asked me, I was just getting into an office that I was working in. So I've had a few extra minutes. I won't be long here, but a couple of things. Jerry's kind of already mentioned it, and which is allowing us to have the meeting. But Governor signed a bill that the legislators proposed, voted on, and approved, obviously, and which allows for remote meetings for public bodies until the end of the year. And then there's a few changes for next year that still allow them with certain exceptions. And then after 2021, it basically only allows for remote meetings for military personnel that are on deployments. Then Triple E, I think that is calmed down now. We've gotten some colder weather. I haven't gotten the official that the frost has killed all the mosquitoes up in your area, but I know Clare County was one of 7 counties that were sprayed earlier this fall within the last month or so to help combat the Triple E, as there was a pretty significant positive cases in horses. We actually had, I believe, 2 positive in human, not in Clare County, but in other areas. But I believe with the colder weather, that's knocking those mosquitoes down for the year, hopefully. 2 other things within the region. The Kent County EM Lou Hunt, he retired from the Sheriff's Department. He had 26 years of service there. The last 2 years as the EM, he retired there. Matt Grosser, who was the 911 manager or director, took his position and is getting his feet wet in that position. And then Ottawa County, actually Lou Hunt moved over to Ottawa County and is now their EM. So those are the big things. We actually, this Saturday, we are having a regional hazmat exercise that's going to be taking place in Grand Rapids. There's 6 hazmat teams within the region that have been invited, and we'll see who is able to make it. And I believe that is it for an update from me. Thanks.
Thanks, Lieutenant. Appreciate it. Next up, who have I got next up? Kim Davis, are you there?
Yeah, Jerry, I'm here. Just kind of observing.
Okay. All right. Anything to add from your side?
Not at this point.
Okay. All righty. Thank you. Kathleen down at Lear, welcome aboard, and you're up. You have to unmute yourself, Kathleen.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, thanks for having me aboard today, Jerry. I appreciate it. I found this meeting very informational, but I do not have anything to add at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. And Kathleen, I appreciate all your help on the 302 site plan for Lear this fall. That really helped out. And I look forward to working with you. Great job down there.
Yes, thank you. And I look forward to working with you as well.
Okay, anything else? Anybody have anything good of the order? Teresa, anything on your side? No? Okay. She's shaking her head no. So what I'm going to do is all those who are not attending the 911 meeting, I'm going to hand it off to Marlena, and she'll be taking my chair, and I'll be participating in front of her computer. So thanks, everybody. We are adjourned. Have a great day.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you.
Thanks, you too.
Hey, Marlena, it's Josh. I'm not bailing on you. I have to go touch base with my desk sergeant on a couple things real quick. It'll be like 30 seconds.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Thanks for your patience, Marlena. I'm back.
Okay. Lieutenant Leader, I'm ready whenever you are. Lieutenant Leader, I'm ready whenever you are.
All right. For those of you, I think everybody was at the last meeting, but no disrespect to our amazing country at all, but we're going to forego the pledge. Like Jerry said, it's kind of hard to do it respectfully on a Zoom meeting. But if there was ever a time to thank God we live in the country we live in, it's right now. She's far from perfect, but better than anybody else has anywhere else in the world. To start out with, I would look for a motion to approve the agenda that Marlena sent out to everybody.
I make a motion.
I
Thank
do
you,
have
Mary
one
Jo.
addition.
Okay.
Under new business, I just need to talk real quickly about the citizen rep applications. That's the only change I have.
You still good with your motion, Mary Jo, knowing that? Thank you, ma'am. She's nodding yes. Do we have a second?
I'll second
that.
I think I heard Don and somebody else. Thank you, gentlemen. Hopefully everybody got a chance to look at the minutes from the July 21st meeting that she sent out. I'll be looking for a motion to approve those minutes as they were sent out by Marlena?
I'll make a
Not
motion to
everybody.
approve the minutes as presented.
Jerry Becker seconded.
Thank you. Any public comments at all? I have no public in the room where I'm at, so. All right, hearing none. We'll move on from that. The budget overview. In my packet, you guys should have one that's green at the top that says 2020 budget year 911 budget revenue sheet, and one that says 2021 budget year 911 budget revenue sheet. If everybody has those in hand, Marlena, did you want to go over that for us?
I can do that. So basically, we just ended our fiscal year for 2020. The new one began October 1st. The information that's included on this form for 2020 is going to change. We're going to continue receiving funding through November, and that'll all be accrued back into that previous budget year. So as you can tell, if you look at the total revenues and then at the still expected item or the line, it still shows that we should receive another $191,000 is what's expected. Of course, that's based off estimates. Then it shows the expenses still to date. Our current net of revenues and expenditures is $25,496.67. So that's what we're currently sitting at for the 2020 fiscal year. But again, that's still going to change. And the current fund balance is in green. That's $142,805.62. And with us having that current fund balance, it's taken into account money that hasn't been spent over the last 4 years. So that's allowing us to stay in the green going into fiscal year 2021, which we would technically be in the negative if we didn't have that little bit of a buffer. So then looking at the 2021 budget year, the blue sheet, that's the funding that we've received to date, and the expenses to date are most likely going to be accrued back into the 2020 budget year. So we give you the sheet, but it's really not correct information. It's going to change as well, but it just shows you that currently since October 1st, we have spent $42,179, and we've only brought in $9.18. But we're currently sitting at a fund balance for fiscal year 2021 at $100,000 approximately. So.
Any questions or clarification requests on that?
I'll just make a comment. I think you're doing a good job on your budget. It's just come a long ways in the last couple of years, so.
Thank you, Dave.
All right, that brings us to the operations briefing.
The last meeting in July, I had let everyone know that we hired a new dispatcher. The first week of July is when she started. Unfortunately, that dispatcher, after 3 months of being in the training program, decided that it just wasn't for her. And she has resigned from that position. So we reached out to the person who was basically the runner-up in that same hiring pool. Unfortunately, due to the circumstances with her kids, not being in school and whatnot, she has decided not to take that position either. So we are hiring again. We just posted a job posting last week, and it's open through October 30th. So at that point, we'll go back through the hiring process, and hopefully we can get a candidate that will meet the requirements and stick around. I think that was just about it for operations.
Just to follow up on operations, I know people have said it in sidebars and stuff, but publicly it needs to be addressed. Your willingness as a dispatcher to step in and fill in as needed in a very chaotic and hectic time says a lot about you and about your dedication, not just to holding a position, but making sure the team works well, is very much appreciated. So if you haven't been thanked in public, ma'am, on behalf of all of us, you did a great job stepping up, and we thank you.
Thank you.
That brings us up to the PFN conversion.
So we are fully converted in Clare County. The only thing we're waiting on We do have Isabella Central that's still transferring some 911 calls up to us. For example, if they get a cell phone call and it's taking place in Clare County, but because of the tower and how it triangulates, it sends it to Isabella and they have to then transfer it up to us. That's being done through that old system. So once Isabella Central is completely converted over to PFN, then we will officially be no longer using that old system. They are in the process. So it just depends on how long that takes them. It took us almost 2 years. So I'm hoping it doesn't take them as long because they are not an AT&T customer, and AT&T was really, from what I understand, overwhelmed and just weren't able to move forward with that process very quickly. They are a Frontier customer, so I'm hoping things will move a little quicker for them. The only other difference is we're still waiting for AT&T to come out and remove some of their old equipment that's no longer being used, which it's not hurting anything by being there, but it's just kind of the last step to being fully converted is making sure that they remove the equipment.
They've been a little slow. I think it's because of them being overwhelmed in a lot of areas. A lot of the providers are slow getting their old equipment out, even though most of the contracts say they'll have it out within 30 to 45 days after the equipment's done being used. The only issue that's created in some other places that I'd be careful with, even at the post here, we've had people just show up saying, yeah, you know, I'm Joe Blow from such and such company. I'm here to pick up equipment. We need to make sure we're really being strict about credentialing when someone just shows up and not just giving them access. I know you're good about that, but even at the PDs and stuff, we're seeing more and more people just showing up. So just something to keep on the radar with our people.
Well, and honestly, we don't even get feedback. There's no notice. People are just showing up. We actually had, it's a separate issue, but we had some work that needed to be done at our police department for our backup site. They showed up at the sheriff's office, the wrong building, didn't know they were coming. And I'm glad that I happened to be there at that time, just so I could go down to the police department with them. They have to have someone there to be able to let them into the cabinet because I don't even have access to that closet. It's secure because that's where all their server equipment is. So, I mean, it all worked out, but there's just the lack of communication is really sad.
Very true.
Unfortunate.
Updates on the 911 plan.
The 911 plan was officially approved in August, so we are done with the 911 plan. I'm still waiting on a copy with signatures on it, and then I can forward that on to the state of Michigan, to the state 911 office. With that, I did send out the 911 advisory bylaws with the packet, and these have already been approved. They were part of the physical 911 plan as an appendix. And I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows that these are the new bylaws that will be up now.
On that 911 plan, does that have to be wet signatures or can it be electronic? And do I owe you anything on that, or who do you need those from?
Nope, it was already taken care of, or it should have been taken care of at the August Board of Commissioners meeting. I just haven't received the signed copy yet.
Okay, thank you for doing that. Next up, surcharge increase in the ballot proposal.
Yep, at the last meeting, it had yet to come to on the ballot, so it has taken place. It did pass with 62% of the voters voting yes, which was great.
Wow.
It will not go into effect until July 1st of 2021, so we won't start seeing those funds for quite some time. It'll be probably November before those start trickling in, and I mean November of 2021. So it'll be 2022 before we have a full year's worth of those fees. But it'll be going up to $1.75 from $1.
Well, that's a result of an outstanding job by everybody physically touching that and making it happen, but also through the informal communication to the community, because to get that at a 62% yes, under the current climate of people's feelings about being charged more for anything, that says a lot about this group doing a good job just getting the word out. So well done by everybody on that.
I was also really surprised because we did have the other ballot proposals that were countywide on there as well. I didn't know if that would change. You know, we've typically had support from the community for 911 proposals. So I was glad to see that it didn't just get declined based on the fact that there were so many out there.
Absolutely. This next topic seems to be going around. We got hit at dispatch and the post down here and fried some equipment. The lightning strike near Clare PD and City Hall.
Yeah, I just wanted to give an update. I did bring it up just briefly at the last meeting because we had just found out about it like a day or two prior to the July meeting. There was a PFN router at our backup site that was damaged because of the lightning strike, as well as a lot of other equipment. It has been since replaced and everything's back to working. We did do some testing at the site after they made the changes just to make sure that the call routing of the 911 software does work. And everything seems to be in order. I would like to give it over to Jerry because there was a UHF repeater that's used by the schools that's housed at the City Hall in Clare that was damaged, and we could find that out till quite a few weeks later. Well, as basically the next time we tried radio, and I believe they've given us a loaner, and a loaner repeater is in place, and they're still working on fixing the one that was originally there. I don't know if Jerry has any more to add.
Yeah, if you can hear me, it's just, we've turned it over to Clare City's insurance carrier for a claim, and it was extensive. It completely destroyed the repeater. It's non-repairable, and it did destroy other peripheral components that touched it. So they installed the backup repeater, and it failed because the electrical system failed. So everything that the lightning touched, it basically took out. The only thing that survived was the Clare Fire Department repeater that survived the situation. Other than that, pretty much everything went out. We're still waiting to hear on the insurance claim, and hopefully soon, because that's about an $8,000 hit on that repeater. So we should be up and running on the backup though.
Thank you, Jerry. New business. Let's go ahead and jump right into your citizen rep issue you wanted to address.
At the last meeting, I had told everyone my plan was to post for this position in September, so that way I would have the applications in hand for this meeting. Honestly, I dropped the ball. I totally forgot about doing that in September, and I realized it about 2 weeks before this meeting. And at that point, we knew we were going to be posting for the dispatch position. With that being said, I think that if we posted it right now, I think it would cause some confusion because we have an open position within 911. So if we also put a position out there that's voluntary for the 911 advisory board, I just think it might cause some confusion. So I think I'm going to wait until after that position job posting closes on October 30th, and then I will post it for the volunteer position for the board if everyone is okay with that.
I think that's sound judgment to me, and we have a quorum, so it's not like we absolutely have to have that right now. Is everybody else in agreement that that's a good call? I would support her in that. I don't think we need a formal motion or anything.
Okay. And then my other question is, because that is supposed to go into effect at the January meeting, do we want to put together a subcommittee to go over the applications, or do we want to have a special meeting so that we can make a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners? They actually make the appointment, the Board of Commissioners do.
I would be very comfortable with a small subcommittee. I would be willing to help on that if everybody's comfortable with it, rather than tie up everybody's time on a special meeting. But I would want everybody to be comfortable with that. Is anyone opposed to a small subcommittee of, say, at a minimum of 3 people going over those and coming to a unanimous decision? Any opposition at all?
Not from here.
Okay. Is there anyone who would like to volunteer who just has their heart set, hey, I want to be part of that group and would like to do it?
Gary said he'd like to be on the committee.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'd entertain a thought.
Okay. That's 2. And Marlena, did you want to sit on that? I mean, I think you should have the first dibs at it since it's you working with them. But if you don't want to, I'm happy to help out too.
I don't mind.
Okay. Thank you very much for the 3 of you doing that. I don't want to cut you off, ma'am. Anything else on the citizen rep issue?
Nope, that was it.
Okay. Any other new business that you had? I don't see any listed here.
Nope.
Okay. EM report.
Hey, I'm here. Everybody that was a part of my last meeting pretty much got the fill of me, so I'm not going to rehash again the radio situation down there in Clare. Just a kind of a new thing that popped up in the communications world in the last just week. Mid-Michigan College has decided to get back into the radio communications part, and they purchased 4 handheld radios. I programmed those radios for them the other day and delivered them. And they are on our UHF county network. So they have access to get into dispatch, and they also have the interop channels in them for, ground operations there. So welcome to them back. I had a brief discussion. They're going through a lot of changes down there right now of personnel and structure. So I had a discussion with that. They actually brought it up to me as they want to be a part of the radio check group on the 3rd Wednesday. So I'll be getting with Marlena on that once they get those radios out into the hands of the people they want them at the college. And then, as far as getting them on the radio check schedule each month. So that's about it right now, unless anybody has any questions.
I do on that, Jerry. As far as interoperability, do they have anybody on the South Campus down here that monitors that? Or do they have a plan to expand that down here in Isabella with our dispatch, or is that just up north?
No, I'm glad you brought that up, Josh. The purchasing director down there, Dennis, actually said that they are interested in adding radios to the Mount Pleasant campus also. I told him to get a hold of Mark Griffiths down there because I'm not familiar with their UHF comm system down there, but there's a possibility of some interoperability there. So I told him to get with him, and then if he needs me to get involved, I could do that also. Okay. And I know that their primary person that would have it down here is just one security person. And that's always a retired deputy or a retired city guy. And if it came down to, getting them an 800, we could actually entertain that if he needs a liaison. It's a trusted law enforcement person in that role. They may have some flexibility there. So if he hits any speed bumps, will you just give him my contact? I'd be happy to work with him on that as well. I certainly will. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Yep. MCA report. Is that not something that we have feedback on today? Mary Jo.
I'm not sure if Mary Jo was planning to give a report or not.
Let me see here.
Oh, there she is.
Oh, there we go.
Mary Jo, you're still muted.
Sorry, guys, I was multitasking. Fire marshal just showed up at one of my facilities. So for the MCA, we just did a memo meeting for this quarter. And all of licensures are continued to be signed online. We don't have anything that's an issue as of right now. In noticing what's going on in the state, most every one of them are doing a virtual or Zoom or memo meeting. So we went with that, but there's really nothing to report for MCA.
Okay.
Brett, do you have anything?
No, just what I said before about being busy and hard for us to be able to keep up. It's just seems like it's getting busier every day.
Mm-hmm. Since I think everybody that's on here right now was actually present at the last meeting instead of going person by person, does anyone have any roundtable issues? Just things for the good of the order that they want to bring up with this group specifically? Seeing some head shakes, no. Marlena, Jerry, is there anything that we missed? It was a pretty brief agenda.
Yeah, no, not really. Just bear in mind that some of you may be aware of this, some may not, that Marlena and I get a list daily from the Department of Public Health of the locations of COVID-19 positives. Only specific, agencies are on that list as far as Marlena forwarding it to. I was doing it, but Marlene is doing an outstanding job, so she's doing it now. So if there's anybody who needs to be on that list, and I'm talking about first responders, this is not this list is confidential. So therefore it can't just go out to anybody. But if there's first responder agencies that need to be on that list, please notify Marlena and we'll see to get you on that, that notification list.
Thank you. As far as the dispatch issue, Marlena, the command texts for major incidents, those appear to be going pretty smoothly lately. So I don't know if a little glitch worked itself out or if you intentionally made some adjustments, but I wanted to say thank you for that. Those command texts seem to be coming through clearly. So that's outstanding. I appreciate the heads up on those things.
Okay.
All right. With all that being said, the next meeting is scheduled for January 19th. It'd be awesome if we could actually have human interaction again by then, but I don't know. I would take a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Mary Jo, are you making a motion?
All right, and a second.
I'll second.
Jerry Becker.
I know time's important, guys. Thanks for giving it to us this morning. Everybody stay safe and have a great week. I appreciate all of you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Josh.